The time is precisely 1:15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News edited by Ramesh Piris and read by Chandima Virakon. Headlines. The President says efforts should be made to establish freedom of navigation in the Indian Ocean region. The IMF chief hopes to see Sri Lanka's public creditors quickly engaged. A bilateral agreement between Sri Lanka and Nepal on tourism and higher education. Applications called for re-scrutiny of 2021 advanced level results. The university administration to provide part-time employment opportunity to students at Peradeniya University. The Parliament Gallery opens for visitors again. The Lotus Tower opens to public today. On international news, thousands queue overnight to pay their last respects to Britain's longest-serving monarch at Westminster Abbey. In sports news, it's cricket. Vanindu Hasaranga moves up in rankings after dominant performances at the Asia Cup. Local news in detail. President Ranil Wickremesinghe stated that efforts should be made to establish freedom of navigation in the Indian Ocean region and make Sri Lanka a centre of maritime commerce. The President said that plans should be made to create a powerful Asia by opening up to the world while ensuring the security of the Indian Ocean region. He made these observations addressing the first graduation ceremony held at the National Defence College in Colombo. Emphasizing that the ships supplying fuel to the world should be allowed to pass through the Indian Ocean, the President also said that it should be ensured that the security of the Indian Ocean region is not hindered by the ships passing through the Indian Ocean. The International Monetary Fund Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva said China and other big creditors have a responsibility to prevent the debt problems facing emerging market and low-income countries from exploding. Georgieva, speaking at an event hosted by the Center for Global Development, said 25% of emerging market and 60% of low-income countries were in or near debt distress. Specifically, Georgieva said she hopes to see Sri Lanka public creditors quickly engaged and then bringing private creditors on board for debt negotiations. Earlier on Tuesday, the Sri Lankan government said financial advisory group Lazard started talks with India, China and Japan on restructuring Sri Lanka's debt. A preliminary discussion was held on Wednesday under the patronage of President Ranil Wickremesinghe to reach a bilateral agreement between Nepal and Sri Lanka on the development of Sri Lanka's tourism sector and the expansion of university education opportunities. The PMD said Ambassador of Nepal to Sri Lanka, Mr. Basudev Mishra, attended the meeting held at the Presidential Secretariat. During the discussion, an agreement was reached to implement a youth exchange program enabling the youth of both countries to join university education and tourism sector opportunities. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Continuing with local stories, the university administration has decided to provide a part-time employment opportunity of 13 hours per month for all students studying in the Peradeniya University. Under this program, implemented for the first time in a university in Sri Lanka, one student will be paid 350 rupees for an hour of work. University Vice-Chancellor Professor M.D. Lamavansa said that the University Alumni Association has taken the initiative to implement this program. These part-time job appointments are to be given to students for providing non-academic services in the university and for knowledge exchange through the internet. The Communications Department of the Parliament said the restrictions enforced on visitors to the parliamentary complex and to the galleries have been relaxed from September 20th. The decision has been taken at the Committee on Parliamentary Business on Wednesday following a proposal made by the Sergeant-at-Arms. As a preliminary step, it was agreed to allow parties to visit the Parliament, including school children, on days when there are no parliamentary sittings. Communications Department of the Parliament said the school authorities are able to submit their applications to the Sergeant-at-Arms by sending a letter, a fax to 0112 777 473 or 0112 777 335, or by applying online through www.parliament.lk. The fax numbers again, 0112 777 473 or 0112 777 335, or by applying online through www.parliament.lk. The Lotus Tower, the tallest building in South Asia, measuring up to 356 meters in height, will open to the public from today. The construction of the Lotus Tower, which began in 2012, was completed in February this year. The public can visit the Lotus Tower and the tickets can be purchased at 500 and 2,000 rupees each. For foreigners, visitors' tickets are available at $20. Time has been set aside for school children to visit the Lotus Tower from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. and will be charged 200 rupees. The Lotus Tower will be utilized for various purposes, including tourism and communications. To end the local news, the headlines again. The President says efforts should be made to establish freedom of navigation in the Indian Ocean region. The IMF chief hopes to see Sri Lanka's public creditors quickly engaged. A bilateral agreement between Sri Lanka and Nepal on tourism and higher education. Applications called for re-scrutiny of 2021 advanced level results. The university administration to provide part-time employment opportunity to students at Peradeniya University. The Parliament Gallery opens for visitors again. The Lotus Tower opens to public today. That ends the local news.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
And on the main news story, the Department of Examinations say that applications for the re-scrutiny of 2021 GCE Advanced Level Exam results can be submitted online from today until September 28, 2022. The Commissioner General of Examinations, LMD Dharmasena, stated that the applications can be downloaded and submitted through the department's official website, www.doenets.lk. That ends the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Vedamahatmya.
Moving on to Watch Light. Public Utilities Commission of Sri Lanka introduced a hotline 077 568 7387 to address the inquiries by consumers related to the recent electricity tariff hike in the country. PUCSL Chairman Janakaratnayaka said the measures were taken considering the increasing number of complaints that had been received on the calculation of the new electricity tariff. In addition to this service, the public and other stakeholders can connect with the PUCSL by calling 0112 392 607 or 0112 392 608. The numbers again, 0112 392 607 or 0112 392 608. And emailing info@pucsl.gov.lk or consumers@pucsl.gov.lk or www.facebook.com/pucsl. The email addresses again, info@pucsl.gov.lk or consumers@pucsl.gov.lk or www.facebook.com/pucsl. That ends Watch Light. Moving on to the world news, the headlines. Thousands queue overnight to pay their last respects to Britain's longest-serving monarch at Westminster Abbey. Evacuation plea after major dam hit by strikes in southern Ukraine. Armenia, Azerbaijan negotiate another ceasefire. Thousands queued overnight into Thursday to pay their last respects to Queen Elizabeth II after many choking back tears after seeing her coffin lying in state in London. Britain's longest-serving monarch, who died on September 8, aged 96, after 70 years on the throne, is at rest in the capital's Westminster Hall ahead of Monday's state funeral at Westminster Abbey. After awaiting in all weathers for more than 48 hours, the first public mourners were allowed into the vast medieval hall on Wednesday after the coffin left Buckingham Palace for the last time, in a ceremonial procession witnessed by tens of thousands. Today marks the first full day of Queen Elizabeth II's lying in state. The coffin was being guarded by soldiers in ceremonial uniform in a constant vigil. The Queen's funeral will be held on Monday, the 19th of September, a bank holiday. Officials in a southern Ukrainian city have urged many residents to evacuate, saying a Russian missile hit on a major reservoir dam could cause flooding. As many as 22 streets in 2 districts are at risk, city head Alexandra Vilkul warned on Wednesday. The officials said a water flow of 100 cubic meters per second was gushing from breaches and water levels in the Inolets River were rising dangerously. President Vladimir Zelensky described Russia as a terrorist state after Wednesday's strike on the reservoir. Armenia and Azerbaijan have negotiated a ceasefire to end a sudden resurgence of fighting that has killed 155 soldiers from both sides. Armen Grigorian, the secretary of Armenia's Security Council, announced the truce in televised remarks. A previous ceasefire that Russia brokered on Tuesday quickly failed. The ceasefire declaration followed 2 days of heavy fighting that marked the deadliest outbreak of violence between the two long-time adversaries in nearly 2 years. To end the world news, the headlines again. Thousands queue overnight to pay their last respects to Britain's longest-serving monarch at Westminster Abbey. Evacuation plea after major dam hit by strikes in southern Ukraine. Armenia, Azerbaijan negotiate another ceasefire. That ends world news. On to the development news. Sri Lanka's investment promotion agency, the Board of Investments, said the textile manufacturing project by JJ Mills Lanka Private Limited is the first project to be undertaken at the dedicated textile manufacturing zone in Iravur, Batiklo, with the ground-up development commencing at the site. The facility will feature state-of-the-art technology with knitting, dyeing and finishing capacities of 50 tons of fabric per day once in full operation and is designed to adhere to the latest environmentally sustainable norms. The BOI said the company has committed $35 million for the project and the facility is planned to be completed in 3 phases over 5 years. That ends development news.
Sports News is brought to you by...
With many values that bind us beyond the transaction, we are Sampath Bank. We present your future.
On sports news, it's cricket. Sri Lanka all-rounder Wanindu Hasaranga and India's Virat Kohli have been rewarded for their dominant performances at the Asia Cup by making giant strides on the latest MRF Tyres ICC men's player rankings. Hasaranga, the Sri Lanka match winner, moved up 3 places to 6th on the bowler rankings and 7 spots to 4th on the all-rounder list after he was crowned player of the tournament at the Asia Cup. Kohli scored his first international century in almost 3 years and scored an impressive 276 runs at the Asia Cup. He improved a total of 14 spots to 15th overall on the T20 internationals better rankings due to his efforts. That ends sports news.
The fastest way to earn the highest interest from NSB, now extended till the 30th of September just for you. Your short-term deposits receive an attractive interest rate of 20% in 3 months and 22% in 7 months. Visit a bank branch or a main postal office today. NSB, the only bank with 100% government guarantee.
Business News, sponsored by National Savings Bank, the safest place for your money.
With caring for the people, the planet and its communities sewn into the very fabric of its operations, Brandix has once again launched its blood donation drive for the year 2022. Standing as a true pillar of support to the health of Sri Lanka's citizenry, Brandix, the largest corporate blood donor, is expected to donate a significant volume of blood this year too, through its inspired people. Brandix has been conducting an annual blood donation drive for 13 years, with a temporary suspension in the past 2 years due to restrictions of the pandemic. That ends Business News.
Business News, sponsored by
The fastest way to earn the highest interest from NSB, now extended till the 30th of September just for you. Your short-term deposits receive an attractive interest rate of 20% in 3 months and 22% in 7 months. Visit a bank branch or a main postal office today. NSB, the only bank with 100% government guarantee.
Economic news, courtesy of...
I bought my daughter a laptop for her work by managing my finances. Whatever the expenses may be, I can't afford to miss out on life's special moments like her birthday or our anniversary. So you need to invest to make your family's future flourish.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
And on economic news, the Board of Directors of the Colombo Stock Exchange, with the consultation of the Securities and Exchange Commission of Sri Lanka and the stockbroking industry, have decided to extend the trading hours from today. Accordingly, regular trading will commence at 10 a.m. and market will close at 12:30 p.m. effective from today. That ends economic news.
Saving money isn't easy when you have responsibilities. That's why we promise to give you the best returns and guarantee on your investment. LOLC Finance Fixed Deposits. Maximize your savings. LOLC Finance PLC, incorporated on the 13th of December 2001, is rated SLA stable by ICRA Lanka Limited and is licensed by the Monetary Board of the Central Bank of Sri Lanka under the Finance Business Act number 42 of 2011.
And finally, we take a look at the weather report. The Meteorological Department forecast few showers to occur in the western and Sabaragamu provinces and in the Kandy, Nuwara Eliya, Galle and Matara districts. The Met Department further said mainly fair weather will prevail elsewhere over the island. That ends the weather report. And to conclude this bulletin of news, the headlines again. The President says efforts should be made to establish freedom of navigation in the Indian Ocean region. The IMF chief hopes to see Sri Lanka's public creditors quickly engaged. A bilateral agreement between Sri Lanka and Nepal on tourism and higher education. Applications call for re-scrutiny of 2021 advanced level results. The university administration to provide part-time employment opportunity to students at Peradeniya University. The Parliament Gallery opens for visitors again. The Lotus Tower opens to public today. And in international news, thousands queue overnight to pay their last respects to Britain's longest-serving monarch at Westminster Abbey. And in sports news, it was cricket. Wanidu Hasaranga moves up in ranks after dominant performances at the Asia Cup. With that, we conclude this bulletin of news from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.